Hello, how you doing?
Hey, Ken, how are you?
Good, yourself?
I'm hanging in there.
We've made a trade. We still haven't officially had our conference call with the league, so I'm sure you guys have heard all the rumors. So go ahead and ask your questions.
Who's the prospect?
We're just in the process of notifying him, but it's a player in Grand Rapids.
It's not Kyler Yankov, right?
I want them to know first.
What appealed to you about Leghorn? I mean, and how much of it has
Well,
to
I would say to you that, in the last 24 hours, obviously last night Darren Helm went down at the second intermission, was pulled from the game. He's been having the odd headache this week, and then last night they pulled him from the game. So I know he went to see the doctor today. I haven't really got a report on him, but certainly anticipating that he's probably out for a few days, and we'll see how things go. We've been working all day with I just got off the phone actually with Pavel Datsyuk. We're going to shut Pav down for about 3 weeks. So, as you wake up, as you start to look at things this afternoon at noon, not sure, we were hoping to have Stephen Weiss back a week ago. He's had some pain the last few days. We've shut him down for a couple of days. I didn't get a chance to come down here today because we were in the office all day. So, when you look at our center ice with Zetterberg, with Datsyuk, with Helm, and with Weiss, the uncertainty of where we're at, other than Z, and I guess there's some certainty now with Pav that he's going to be shut down for 3 weeks. We felt that it was important to get a bona fide center iceman.
still no surgery for Pavel, right? Just not no activity.
Right now, there's no surgery for Pavel. I can't tell you that might not be an option in the off season, but right now the doctors feel that we're going to shut him down. In January, he didn't play hockey, but he continued to work real hard off the ice, thinking that he was a day away. We're going to back way off on the off ice. They're going to do some treatments with him here in the next 2 or 3 days. And then, again, like I said, we're going to shut him down for 3 weeks, and then we're going to see where we're at in 3 weeks. So right now, surgery's not an option, but we'll see what the future brings.
Ken, the feeling was that you didn't want to bring a guy in who would just be a rental, let's say. But does the injury situation maybe change that, or is there a possibility of maybe getting Leghorn for more than just 1 year?
Well, I think I think that the game last night with Darren Helm and the news today on Pavel Datsyuk and the news in the last 48 hours on Stephen Weiss. And again, I mean, Weisser could be okay in 2-3 days, but right now there's some uncertainty. That all factored into acquiring a center iceman. The center iceman that we acquired pending trade call is a local boy. So we think that if we want to keep the player beyond this year, we think it's very reasonable to think that that's a possibility to happen, because the player had to waive. He had a no trade and a no move, and he had to waive those to come here. So obviously he wanted to come home.
Ken, did you feel like with all the news of the last day or two that you needed a veteran center to stay in the playoff race essentially?
Oh, without a doubt. I think that again, I think our feeling in that room today with our pro scouts and with Ryan Martin and Mike Babcock was in and out, is that we got to win some games, and as we go along here, we're hoping to get some of these people back. Certainly, if we can qualify for the playoffs, we still believe that there's a chance in the first round of the playoffs Z will be ready to play. I saw Z was in the office today a few hours ago and feeling better. We're hoping that shutting Pav down for 3 weeks, we're hoping that sometime in late March we're going to get news on the Pav front. We're hoping that we're going to get good news on Weiss, and we're hoping that as we go along we'll get some good news on Darren Helm. But we got 3 huge games here in 4 nights. Patty Eves, I mean, he's one of the names. I talked to Patty, so he's looking for an opportunity to play every night. So, Pat's one of the players that we've moved in a draft pick. So, it was a deal that we thought made sense for us. And if we can win some games and play our way in as we go along here, we're hopeful that we're going to get some people back.
Because teams knew you were in somewhat desperate situation, did that raise the price?
Well, I don't think so. I don't think so. We kept, I don't know that a whole lot of people knew much about Pav. This thing, Pav really has come down in the last, 24 hours. On Saturday, Mike and I met with Pav. Pav was very frustrated at his inability to play the game the way he knows he plays the game and the way he wants to play the game. We talked on Saturday about him possibly playing Tuesday, last night in New Jersey, and going to see a doctor today. I reached out to Pav again on Sunday, and then on Monday we met again, and I think it became pretty obvious to Mike Babcock, to Pete Van Zandt, to myself, that Pav was frustrated, and all we were going to do was have an athlete that was going to, in our opinion, was going to get emotionally burnt out. When you can't do something that you know you can do at a level, it just grinds on you and grinds on you and grinds on you. So we made a decision that he wasn't going to go to New Jersey. He saw the doctor this morning. The doctor this morning that he saw has had a similar opinion of all the past doctors, but a little more of an aggressive thinking on trying to rehab. So we're going to go with that little more aggressive line of thinking. And if it doesn't work, to your question, Elaine, is then obviously we can have a conversation in the off season, or 6 weeks from now or something, about maybe having some type of surgery. But right now we're hoping that this plan of attack is going to allow us to wake up in 3 weeks and have 3 or 4 weeks and have Pav practicing and thinking about getting back in our lineup.
How much did you look into the bigger names like Vanek and Kessler? How much did you look into those guys?
I didn't. I think at the end of the day, we went in, we were hoping to do a little something on the back end, because, again, I think if you got a healthy Helm and if you got a healthy Pav, or we think we're going to have a healthy Pav, and you look at the way the Mule's playing and the development of the kids, we thought we had the ability to roll 4 lines as good as we've had here in a long time. And all of a sudden, in the last 24 hours, I've just talked about the news, we needed a center iceman. And we can bring in wingers, but we needed center iceman to get the puck. The wingers the centermen we got now, they're good, but we needed another established NHL center iceman. So we really started to concentrate on, and it really, again, I talked to the team that we made the deal with that. It maybe started about noon today, as I started to get information about Pav, and I started to get information about Darren Helm. We were talking in a couple other areas, and we moved in a different direction.
How do you see Legwand fitting in, Ken, and where do you see him in the lineup?
Well, a number one centerman, and obviously we've acquired a centerman, Ken. If you look at, again, we expect Helmer out. We've sent Corey Emerton back to Grand Rapids. So set tomorrow night. We really like Luke Glendenning in the 4-hole. We're going to miss Helmer in the 3-hole with Abby and Alfie. The kid line plays good. Riley Sheehan, and so probably be between. I would think. I'll leave it up to Babs, but I would think he would start out in the middle of Franson and Nyquist going into tomorrow night, and we'll go from there.
You do expect him to be available tomorrow night?
He'll be here at the morning skate tomorrow. Yeah.
Ken, just in your pursuit of defensemen, did you find just the prices were too high, or was there anybody you liked?
I think that.
Focusing on.
Well, I think as we were, lots of things went down in the league yesterday, and we were again, I think we were, I think I know, we were looking for, you know, a certain type. You know, we were looking for a certain shot. You know, we were looking for a guy that shot right. We have so many lefts, but we like our D. We were trying to get one more. We're going to try to have 8, you know, because beyond these 7, the players that we've got are prospects in Grand Rapids. We like them. We think they're going to be NHL players, and Sproul and, you know, Willette, and, you know, Marchenko now has got hurt. Nick Jensen's come back, played very good on the weekend. But they're young players, they're kids, and this time of the year you're always looking for experience. And much we talked to you earlier. I mean, we felt pretty good about our forwards. You know, we you know, yesterday, you know, I was thinking that Pav was going to be day to day, and, you know, maybe a few more days off, and so we were really looking at some defensemen, because I thought that you know, Pav wasn't far away, and if we can keep when we can play our way into maybe Zeke coming back, and, you know, Helmer's here, and Mule's back and playing good, and you know, Bert played real good last night, and you've got a, you know, still got a Patty Eves, so we felt we had some depth up front, and then like I said, over in the last, you know, really when from the game last night in the second intermission, when I was here at home, you know, we went until 7:00. All the scouts went to my house. We had dinner. We watched our game. In the second intermission, I got a text from Pete Van Zandt saying Helmer's being pulled for the game. You know, from that point on, it's been, you know, negative news, I guess, about our forwards, and that's so as you start to go from 10:00 to 11:00 to 12:00 today, I'm starting to think about, is there a centerman on the market that we think can fit what we're looking for, and we think we found the perfect fit.
With Helm, is it a concussion, or do you know yet?
I don't know. You know, I think, you know, he's had a headache, and again, he went to see the doctor today. I haven't got any news. But, and you guys have covered our team and our league. You know, when you've got a player that gets pulled for, there's a protocol. You know, so. And even with, you know, with Helmer back, you know, I'm hoping we get news and Helmer's back in 3-4 days. But, you know, one of the areas you want to be deep is down the middle. So hopefully we get Helmer back. I'm hoping by next week Helmer's in the lineup, Weiss is in the lineup, and the new acquisitions in the lineup, and we've got you know, down the middle is one of our strengths.
You saw a lot of Leghorn from being in the Central for many years,
Yeah.
Nashville, and in the 2012 playoffs. Just what appealed to you from him? What do you like about him?
Well, he was good defensively. You know, he's a guy that puts up, you know, 50, 60 points. And, you know, he's an established, legitimate NHL player, and that can kill penalties and can play against, you know, anybody from the other team. You know, that's sort of that's been his role. So, you know, hopefully we get to do the call with the league soon, and then we can really talk names.
How much did it factor into? I mean, prices seemed to be high. There was a lot of activity yesterday, and some big names went down at the very last minute. Some big names didn't move, but I mean, so many teams still in the race. There was competition for what was.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because, you know, probably in the East, you know, you can say 2 teams for sure in the playoffs. You know, Boston, Pittsburgh, and there's 3 or 4 other teams that have got that cushion of 6-7 points. But, you know, you got to keep winning. So, you know, it appears that. You know, the trade deadline, you know, obviously in the West there's more, you know, there's about those 5 teams, I think, that have got a cushion and are in. But, you know, teams are making moves to get in. And then, you know, again, we've talked about, once you get in, it's a brand new season. You know, whether you're the 7th seed or the 8th seed, you know, it's a fresh season. So, you know, as I look at our team, you know, again, you know, the price that we paid, you know, prospect that we is a good player, but and a real good prospect, but we felt it was a position of strength. You got to get or give to get, and we want to play our way into the playoffs. And we feel as we go along here, and I've kind of said this since really early December, you know, we keep waiting and hoping to get some people back, you know, and you know, unfortunately we got Mule back, but we lost Z. You know, now we've lost Pav for a bit, and you know, I'm not sure on the status of Weiss. I'm not sure on the status of Helm, but probably in all, you know, realistic, they're not available to us the next 2 nights. You know, and then, you know, we'll get into today's Wednesday, and we'll see what Saturday brings before we make a decision on Sunday's lineup. But we got to win some games. We're a point out of the playoffs with a game in hand, and it was, you know, we've disappointing loss last night. But we think again we've lots of good signs. The kids are playing good. We seem to check good. We need to be a little bit deeper, and we think with the addition today we're a little bit deeper down the middle, and we hope to be deeper down the middle next week, just because of getting some injuries back.
Is it a more weird situation for you knowing, I mean, normally on trade deadline day, we talk about talent, we talk about that kind of thing, but with you, talking about hope now, and I've noticed you've used that word quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, does it make it weird for you, or that much more strange on a day like today, knowing that you have to hope for a lot of things?
Yeah, you know, it's been a frustrating. You know, in early December we were 14-7-7, and now we start. And I think we had just put a 4-game winning streak together, and we just felt like we were starting to come. And then I think that's the first time Z went down, and you know, Danny DeKaiser was down. I think somewhere in there Erickson was down, and then we started to kind of get to Christmas, and they came back, and then obviously Pav went down in the first, and then somewhere in there Mule went down, and we've just never seemed to really been able to put our team together. You know, and this year is similar to last year. I think that we got to win some games, and we got to hope we get some good luck on the injury front. You know, the people we're talking about, I mean, Pavel Datsuk and Henrik Zetterberg and you know, Stephen Weiss and Darren Helm. I mean, when well, that's our whole center spot. You know, as we sat in training camp or certainly Pav and Z, that's 2/3 of a number of a number one line. So again, I think that our coaching staff has done a great job in having structure, and the players have bought in. And I think we feel we can go into any game right now, and we can win the game. We've been good on the road. You know, disappointing loss in Tampa Bay right before the Olympic break in the last 3 minutes. Disappointing loss last night. You know, you know, Montreal tied us in the last minute. So we're pretty close. But I think in the short term, we made a deal today. You know, the pick can move up around if we play our way into the playoffs. We want to play our way into the playoffs, and if we go to the draft and we've tried to play our way and it's a 3rd round pick, you know, we feel we've got, you know, you see a lot of the kids here that are playing for us now. You know, we got an Anthony Mantha that is a real top prospect playing in the Quebec Junior League. We got some real good kids in Grand Rapids. We've got some other kids playing junior and in Europe. Our scouts have done a great job, so we felt it was a time to make a move. To fill an important need that was down the middle, and the guy coming in will be our number 1 centerman for a little bit here, and hopefully there's that hope word. I'm hoping that next week we get another 1 or 2 of these guys back, and we can play our way into the playoffs.
In hindsight, how damaging was the Olympics for you? I mean, I know your hands were tied.
Well, I don't
They
think.
went over damage.
Yeah. You know, in Z's case, you know, if there was no Olympics, we would have been playing games here. You know, and it appears that when we put Z on LTI in December, and you know, he went and got some pictures, they could see that flagman floating around, and there's the hope word again. They were hoping we could get through the season and we could deal with it in the off season. Unfortunately, it caused havoc. So if it didn't cause havoc in Sochi, it probably would have caused havoc in Detroit or Columbus or New Jersey or Nashville or Tampa or wherever we were playing. So ideally, you'd probably like to get your players hurt wearing your jerseys versus getting hurt wearing somebody else's jerseys. You know, obviously the Pav one, you know, we shut him down. We waited, and he obviously played the last 2 games, and then he went over and played in the Olympics. He came back and played a couple of games. In hindsight, with him, you know, it's easy now to say we probably would have been best if he didn't play in the Olympics. But it's easy for me to say, you know, when you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and it's somebody don't go. And you know, again, I think that, you know, Pav could play last night, he could play tomorrow night, but we felt that he was going to mentally and emotionally just get beat up. You know, when you can't do the things that you want to do, all you do for the next 2 or 3 weeks is, you know, he doesn't have the speed, he doesn't have the quickness to beat people and jump around and do the things that he wants to do. And I could see it in Montreal, I could see it in Ottawa. So, you know, again, after getting another doctor's opinion today, after talking to Pav on Saturday, after talking to Pav on Monday, talking to Pete and Babs, we felt that it's in the best interest of our hockey team and the best interest of Pav to make this decision today. That probably we had a little more information today than we did. You know, again, it's a similar report with a little more aggressive plan of attack. Now, I also would say to you that, you know, when you deal with, you know, a lot of times you guys will say to us, you know, how long is a player out? We don't really know how long they're out. You sort of, first thing you want to do, the last thing you want to do as a doctor is have surgery. I think, if I'm not a doctor, but that's what they keep, that's the last thing they want to do is have surgery. They're hoping that these things heal on their own. So when Pav started to complain in late December, the first option was, let's shut him down for a period of time. Let's not play hockey. Let's back him off on practice. And, you know, we went a month. So, you know, over the last 10 days since he's come back from the Olympics, or week, you know, some of the things that we've been talking about have been, you know, let's shut him down. Well, even Pav said in the office there the other day, I was down for 5 weeks. There wasn't much change. So we can shut down for 5 weeks. I don't know that there's going to be a whole lot of change. So we're going to try and do some things here with him over the next 2-3 days. And then again shut them way further down than we did in January. So,
When you say
you know,
more aggressively, this attacking it,
Yeah.
you mean less?
Well, that's part of. We're going to do. They're going to do some medical procedures that you know, maybe a little more aggressively than we did in January. You know, and then we're going to be a little more aggressive, or get him to back off even more on his off ice. You know, so we're going to try to get him to really rest it. Like, he wasn't playing in January, but he'd go back there and he's pushing weights. And you guys see how he trains. He trains. He's one of the most committed athletes we've had here. He's in the lines of the Cronwells and the Eisermans and the Drapers, and you know, on and on and on, Chelioses. So, you know, he needs to back way off on that. And I think Pav's feeling in January was, well, I just won't play and I won't practice, and I'm gonna keep doing my work off ice, and I'll wake up in 5 weeks or a few days and I'll be good. Well, we've seen that hasn't been the answer. So we're going to be more aggressive. He's going to be more aggressive in the sense of less aggressive off the ice. And then we're going to again do a couple, you know, some of the things that we did in January, a couple other things, and then he's going to need some time. And we've chosen 3 weeks. I don't know, maybe it's 2 weeks, but we kind of think we're going to give him a period of 3 weeks here, and you know, that way nobody's asking, where's Pav? What's Pav doing? Why isn't Pav practicing? There's no pressure on Pav. The team knows, the coach knows. There's no Pav for 3 weeks, you know, and we're going to readdress this thing in 3 weeks. Doesn't mean Pav will be back, but it's I think it allows Pav in his own mind to know that his body's got a period of time here. Let's see if we can wake up in 3 weeks, and the inflammations and the things that are not allowing him to do the things that he can do and wants to do. Let's see if this is the answer. If it's, and again, if it's not the answer, then we'll have to look at what's next. I'm hoping we're back to the hope word. I'm hoping we're hoping that in 3 to 4 weeks, we're Pav's out here zipping around and we're having conversations about when's he coming back.
Again, you said as far as Zetterberg and that suit that at least for Pav it might have been best not to play in the Olympics, but you can't.
For Z, yeah. Or for Pav, yeah.
Right. But
for Z, I think you didn't, yeah.
But you can't really tell them that, right? Because it is their right as far as.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I just
Right.
said. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's not for me to decide. I look
Do you
at.
talk to him about it though, as far as.
Oh, I talk all the time. I talked to Mule, and Mule made the decision that. Well, I don't think he could he could go. And
Right.
I look at. I mean, Z played for a month. And Z played against the Czech Republic, and I thought he was fabulous. And woke up the next morning, and all of a sudden, my the new Russian phone. I didn't even know how anybody had my numbers, going crazy with all these. I think I'd given it to a couple of people, and they're trying to get information, and what's the matter with Z? Does Z need surgery? Does Z need surgery? So, Z played the game. He said he woke up the next morning and they saw that fragment had lodged itself in a nerve, and it had to be
Right.
had to be handled. But I'm not judging. I mean, I look at Pav and Z. These guys have been. They've been since Radio 506. They've carried this team. They're superstars. They got the mantle from Lidstrom, and they got the mantle from Yzerman. We won the cup in 2008. Henrik Zetterberg is the MVP. These guys are superstars. And super people. They're warriors. They're competitors. They play hurt. They block shots. They play 200 feet. They're role models. They're great citizens. They're incredible people. So, if for me to tell Pavel Datsyuk, I don't think you should be playing and representing your country in the Olympics, something that, as a little boy, he's growing up and you represent your country in the Olympics and you'll be the captain. I don't think that's, I have a conversation with him, but ultimately, you can kind of tell them what you're feeling, but I think that's a decision that they've got to make, and I respect the decision. And again, I get back to Z. I mean, Z played for us for a month. He played the first game in the Olympics. He felt great. I was at the game. I watched the Czechs play the Swedes, and the next day he can't get out of bed. So, I don't think that had anything to do with the Olympics. I think that just that was something that we were concerned about in December, and it reared its ugly head. It lodged, that little fragment lodged itself in the wrong place. But Pav gives his heart and soul to the team, to the city, to the franchise, to our coaches. He's no maintenance. He's no politics. You give him whoever you want. He just plays. I mean, he's a superstar.